everybody, this is a response to a challenge from Jot Magazine blog. It's a mood board. I'm starting my 8.5 by 11 sheet with just a plain piece of white paper, and I'm using Lumiere Citrine, Lumiere Halo Blue Gold, and just a yellow. It's a cheap yellow. And I'm just creating this background. I mean it to look kind of like the door that's painted, where there's a light green and then a yellow and then a blue-green at the bottom. And that's the part of the mood board that I'm responding to at this point. And I'm just giving it that, trying to get that variation going and really getting it to mix, the colors to mix as I put them on. These are all acrylic paints, so they're very opaque, and this is a 110-pound white cardstock that I got from Joann. It's cheap cardstock, but anyway, with my silhouette I cut out that tag. I'm using my Distress inks to color the base tag so that the little overlay part it'll show easily what the words say. So I started with the faded jeans, and now I'm adding the peeled paint. And it's just going to go in the center, just to kind of give that, again, that variated look, one color to the next. I'm going back in with the faded jeans to blend them better. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that overlay, tag overlay that says Becoming 13. This is a layout about my daughter. I actually took this photo today, and it's about how she's becoming 13, how she's becoming a teenager. It's just a regular day, and she's turned into such a teenager the last few weeks. So there's my clicky glue pen, and I sped this up really fast because I'm basically just putting the little tiny pieces. You can see that's the mat I use for my silhouette. I use Cricut mats that are cut down for my silhouette. They last longer. I'm putting those little tiny pieces inside of the letters so that it makes a complete word. Alright. It's sort of tedious, so I slowed it down. You know, you've got to take those tweezers and get those little tiny pieces, and I use the Quickie Glue pen to apply them. So that's kind of slow, tedious work. But that tag is done, and it's so cool. Now I've got the basic layout glued up, or I've got the idea going, and I'm just placing them. I've got this big ticket tag that I made on my silhouette, and also that little swirling border I made on the silhouette. And I decide I want to stamp wood grain on the background, and I use Cactus Green StazOn to do that. And that's a Bo Bunny stamp that looks like wood flooring. And the reason I wanted to add the wood is because there was the wood door, 2 wood doors in the mood board, and I just wanted that additional texture. And that Bo Bunny stamp is making me crazy because it won't stick, so I basically cut that off so you didn't have to watch me go through that torture. Now I'm gluing down a central yellow panel, and the paper that I've chosen is a sheet from the Bo Bunny Lemonade Stand line, and that's my little silhouette border, and I decide I want to variegate that a little bit too, so I put a little bit here and there of the jeans and the peeled paint. So you can see it's not all one color when I'm done, and then I just glue it down. And there's my picture that I took today just out the parking lot at a Best Buy. She was looking pretty and looking like a teenager. So I went ahead and glued that down. And now I'm working on the tag positioning where I'm going to put my journaling spot. And I pull out this Heidi Swapp stamp set that I got from Michaels. And I don't know that it has a name. I think it was meant for planners, but it just has a ton of small stamps. And I just use a lot of them. Like that tag says I heart, and then I wrote teenagers on it. And it had a little, has a little sequin stamp, and so I'm stamped the little sequins on there. And I'm just trying to decide, you know, I've fussy cut all these little pieces out. There's a date stamp, little date thing, and I'm putting the date in there. And I slip it up there, and now I'm writing in my journaling talking about how it's just a regular day, but she's going to be 13 in 1 month, and how that she's becoming such a teenager and such a young lady so quickly. It's amazing. 7th grade is an amazing year. And I'm going to put that up there. The little heart up there, that's a vellum heart that was embossed that I had sitting on my desk, so I just added it under the I Love Teenagers, because I do. So the little window punch where I stamped and wrote the I Love Teenagers, I'm popping that up on, those look like Stampin' Dimensionals from Stampin' Up. They're probably ancient. In fact, one of them wasn't very sticky, so I had to add some more glue to it. Then I put it on that heart, and then I go ahead and glue the heart down just under the little tag part. And now the tag that has the title on it, I'm trying to decide, and I finally decide where to position it. I put it right there, glue it down. And then I just was stumped with this layout. It felt not unfinished. So I went back to the sketch. I'm using a sketch from Page Maps, this month's Page Maps. And it had stitching on there, but I didn't want to go to the sewing machine. So I got out my faux stitching stamps that are from the Angel Company. And I chose another scrap of paper from that same lemonade stand line. And I just stamped those stitch stamps on there and then just cut it really narrow. So they were really narrow little borders, like maybe a 1/4 inch wide. And I'm fitting those little borders on there and trying to decide where to position them. And I go ahead and glue them down. And I do feel that they add quite a bit to the layout. But it mimics the stitching that the page map called for, the sketch that I used. Alright, so I chose some more stamps out of that same Heidi Swapp stamp set, some little banners and a little circle that says documented captured around it. And then I pulled out this little, it was kind of a little tag. It has a scallop on it that I had cut out on the silhouette. And I stamped it with the azure and the cactus that I'm using over and over here. And those are stays on, and I'm gluing that little piece to the top, that little piece of blue paper. And then I'm going to put those little banner pieces on top of it. And I end up using only 3 of the ones I stamped, but you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. So I was just thinking. That's why I made 5 of them. They'll just end up on another project. So I'm just thinking here, trying to get it figured out, and I glue it down. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Just wanted a little more, I just wanted something at the top to make it feel finished up there. So I'm gluing the little banners in a row. And then there's a little circle that I stamped, and it says captured and documented. And then I pull out some gems that I got from the Michaels Dollar Spot. years ago. I have a couple little butterflies that I stamped out of that same stamp set, that Heidi Swapp stamp set. Glue them down, add some gems, and that's the layout. I decided it's done. And I'm so happy with it. I think it's beautiful. I love those colors. I love that Bo Bunny lemonade stand collection. I love the paint background. And my daughter's picture's adorable. She's such a teenager. I love teenagers. Alright, thanks. Have a good night.